Fortnite Chapter 5 is finally here, and Epic completely broke in-game movement. Oh hell nah! No, but for real, a lot has changed in the new chapter, including all of the settings. Like, no joke, we got a complete settings UI overhaul. So because I know a lot of you are struggling with your performance and FPS this new season, I am here to help you all out. We're going to go through all your in-game settings, optimize your Fortnite launcher options, and yes, since I know you're all here for it, we're also going to look at some helpful tips to improve your movement on keyboard and mouse and console to just make it feel not as clunky as it currently is. Epic isn't gonna change it. So make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and use code Jarian for the battle pass. Otherwise, it is now time for the Fortnite Chapter 5 settings guide. Alright, so let's start by talking about the elephant in the room, the new in-game Fortnite movement. Essentially what Epic did is they overhauled all the player animations in Fortnite. They did this through what's called motion matching and procedural layering. It's apparently supposed to make your gameplay animations more fluid and smooth, but as I'm sure you've all felt while playing yourself, these changes make it feel like you're playing Roblox when trying to build. It's not good. It's also not good that Epic tweeted out today about the movement changes, and they basically said that they don't plan to make any adjustments to it just yet because all of the changes they've made, such as making running and sprinting slower, these were all intentional. So we gotta fix it ourselves. First thing you're going to want to do is go into your settings, go across on the top tab to the keyboard controls, and then under the movement section here, which my face was blocking, you're going to scroll down to the two force walk toggle and force walk hold settings. If you have anything bound here, like I had my force walk bound, make sure that you clear this, so press X, and then apply, because there's a bug at the beginning of the season where it basically overrides your sprint key. A lot of the time it will actually be bound to the same thing, and this is what it will look like. You're literally forced to walk, like slow walk, and we don't want that. But then the other thing you want to do to help fix your movement is this time in the mouse and keyboard tab, one over from the last one we were at, go again down to keyboard movement, turn custom diagonals, if you don't have them on, from off to on, scroll down to the keyboard movement, make sure you have use custom diagonals on, so if it's off, turn it on. That's going to give you these three options, which are your double/normal movement. And listen carefully because this is what you want to do. Forward diagonal angle, make sure you have this on 70 or lower. So I have mine on 69. You know why. Use forward diagonal angle is just when you press W and A or W and S, which you can tell is... it's clunky. It's not the Fortnite movement we're used to. But to help with that, the big change they made is to what's called your strafe angle. And shout out to Resub for this. The max strafe angle you should use is 71. 71 on the strafe angle. You could use anything below it, but make sure that your forward diagonal angle is less than your strafe angle. So I'm using 71 for the strafe angle. Forward diagonal angle has to be less. 70 is the max I should use here. And then backward diagonal angle, don't touch that. What the strafe angle does is it controls what's called single key strafing. I've shown it off in the past. It used to be really good. Like you could go pretty much perfectly sideways while running. Now, however, you know, we got whatever this is. But it only works if you're only pressing D to go left or only pressing A. So your forward diagonal angle is if you only press W and A or W and D. I think I had D and A messed up before for the single key strafing. But with these settings, you should feel a little more like the normal movement. You'll be much faster, especially when you sprint. This is, it feels just like the OG one. To actually get the OG movement though, there's only one way to do it, and it's to actually play a creative map that has the OG loot pool. The one I would recommend is you can search it up. It's just called Forever Zone Wars. It's my map that I made with Jiven. You can see it right here. My face was also blocking it. And I guess Epic never changed your movement with the OG guns. So you can see we still have, just as I spawn in, the OG loot pool with the OG pump. And if you look, what the... Yay! Oh my. The pump is saving me. Ah! Anytime I have my builds out, I get the bad new movement we're used to, even though we did fix it a little bit. But if I have my shotgun out, look at my movement. Oh my lord. It's the movement we're all used to. Most of the OG weapons, oh no. The OG SMG has the bad movement, but the OG pump, yes sir. The good movement. Yeah, really. So yeah, map code will be on the screen. You guys can see it. You could also search up Forever Zone Wars, and that's kind of the only way to get the OG movement back. Oh, and one last movement thing for my controller players. There's currently, at this moment, no actual way to fix your movement. I'm sorry. People have said to go to your game settings if you're on controller and to turn off toggle sprint, but toggle sprint is actually useful. It's not going to help change your movement like if you're on keyboard with the double movement, so don't listen to them. Keep toggle sprint on, and I'm sorry if you're on controller. Before we get into all the in-game settings though, there should be timestamps, so if you want to go to that part, you could skip to it. This, however, is very important. I want you all to go to your Epic Games launcher, over to where it says Library, and then click the 3 dots next to Fortnite. You should get a bunch of options. You're literally going to hit Options, and that is going to bring up what are called your Fortnite installation options. These are actually very important. So as you can see, there's actually a new one, or as you'll see, it's not technically new. They just renamed it, but we still have the DirectX 12 shaders, the high resolution textures. I think they may have made one of these bigger. All these essentially are just different options you have installed in your game already that you can either install by just checking if you don't have it, or you can uncheck it to uninstall it and then hit apply. What I recommend doing though is if you do not use Fortnite Save the World, like I don't play that, uncheck that and uninstall it. It's 5 gigabytes, which isn't a ton, but if you don't have a lot of storage yet, it will really help your FPS. After that, do the same thing with high resolution textures. I've explained high resolution textures before, and I've showed you guys the difference between that and just the normal game. They don't make any difference in how they look, and it's 15 gigabytes. That is a lot of storage, and your PC will run hell of a lot smoother without them. So don't have this checked either. The only 2 options that you may have checked are DirectX 12 shaders and pre-download streamed assets. DirectX 12 shaders, I do have them installed just for the sake of sometimes I use DirectX 12. The thing is though, if you guys are watching this and you want the best performance, you're probably going to use performance mode in Fortnite. So if you only use performance mode and you don't plan on using DirectX 12, just uncheck that, press apply, and it will uninstall it. Oh, it's that quick. So I guess realistically, you only want pre-download streamed assets, the new setting checked. It's 6 gigabytes, and yes, you do want it. What pre-download streamed assets is it's actually just the same setting as disable cosmetic streaming. All of you guys should remember that from my last few settings videos on the last few seasons. And to kind of summarize it, what disable cosmetic streaming or pre-download streamed assets does is it downloads all the cosmetics like skins before you get into game. So it's going to download the 6 gigabytes right here. And that is for when you go into game, you won't have cosmetic streaming on, because cosmetic streaming will actually make your game download all those cosmetics as you run into them in game. It will result in higher ping, worse FPS. It's kind of just like the worst setting ever if you don't have this checked. So guys, make sure that you have pre-download streamed assets checked. It's the only thing other than Fortnite Core and Battle Royale that you need in your Fortnite installation options. Press apply, and boom, your game will be running hell of a lot better because you just got rid of all that junk. Yes, it's finally time for all the in-game settings, which you can tell, we got a whole UI overhaul. Everything is just, oh my lord, they literally changed everything. By the way, I'm over here now. Hello. So let's start on the video tab at the top. They actually added this cool little thing, which now you can go straight from display to graphics quality, all that. Window mode, as always, guys, you will want this on full screen. My head blocks it, which I moved my head so it wouldn't block stuff. But if you look over here under my head, in full screen, you cannot interact with other windows as easily, but the game will run slightly faster. That's what we want. We want the best FPS. After that though, resolution have on your native 1920 by 1080. VSync, turn this off. You should only ever use VSync in your NVIDIA settings. Frame rate limit, have at 1 above your monitor's refresh rate. So for example, if you have a 60 Hz monitor, go to 120, 144 Hz monitor, 160. The only 2 that don't apply is if you use 240 Hz, use 240 FPS, and 360 Hz, 360. You don't want to use unlimited. It's not as good as you may think. And then last in the display options, rendering mode, you can see that we don't have the option for DirectX 12 anymore because I told you guys to uninstall it. Oh look, it actually even says now under here that you need to go and download the shaders and they can be installed. Oh, wow. Epic is actually helping us. They're telling you where the shaders are. That's amazing. But regardless, 99% of you guys, you're going to want to use performance mode. Performance mode will get you the best FPS. It unfortunately does not have all the settings, like I say it every season, but performance mode is affected by DX11 settings. However, on performance mode, they don't show up. So after I go through all of these on performance mode, we're going to switch to DX11, and then we're going to have to switch back to performance mode to actually use it. But for now, rendering mode on performance. Graphics, I'm going to skip for now. We're going to show that a little later. So let's now go to graphics quality for performance mode. 3D res put on 100%. Going lower than 100% will actually help your FPS, and I mean, it doesn't look that much worse. But if you want to show your friends something cool, tell them to go to 1% and apply it. Yeah. This is me building, by the way. Oh hell nah. Nanite virtualized geometry you actually can't change, and that's kind of the annoying thing with the new UI. You can like barely tell that this is supposed to be grayed out, like I can't touch it. View distance though have on near, textures on low, and meshes. Most of you guys should play low. I play on low too, but the reason I have it on high is because I want to show you guys that even with high meshes, if you're on low view distance, look, everything is low mesh. Don't ask why or how, or actually we know how, I just explained it. But you can get low meshes on high meshes, and you can also, if you go and put your view distance on medium, you can get like this weird hybrid where your cones and floors are low mesh, but then your walls and ramps are high meshes. Huh? So yeah, the only way to actually use high meshes is to go on either far or epic view distance, both of those with high meshes on. And you can see everything, including your cones and floors, they will finally be high meshes. I really don't understand why it works like that. Peep my Roblox looking movement, by the way. We like Fortnite. We do. We love it. Other than that though, I think we only have the advanced graphics in performance mode. We're gonna have more when we have to switch to DX11. And that is show FPS, turn on, and report performance stats, disable this. Epic actually, they changed it. They made it so it doesn't say that it comes at a performance cost because everyone was disabling it. Epic, we don't want to help you. We only want FPS. Guys, I didn't show it, but I just switched to DX11 as I said I was. I say it every settings video because just look at how many different settings there are on DX11 or DX12. It doesn't matter which you switch to. You just want to have access to all of these. Even the advanced graphics has like 3 more settings that you just never get. You don't get it all on performance mode. But as I always say, they affect your performance mode FPS. So back down again to graphics quality, but this time on DX11. We're going to skip the auto set quality option. Quality preset you want on custom, but watch what happens. It's going to disappear. Yep, boom. So in order to get the custom one, turn your quality preset to low, skip the quality setting guidance. That's what I'm here for. Anti-aliasing and super resolution turn off. Temporal super resolution is grayed out, but you can't tell. The only way you could actually use this is by going and using TSR. That's what temporal super resolution is. And then you can change this. I don't recommend actually doing it though. Turn this back to off. 3D res, just as with performance mode, change this back to 100%. Dynamic 3D res though, have off, even though you need DX12 to change it. Nanite virtualized geometry as well is grayed out, but leave it off. Shadows off, global illumination off, reflections off, view distance and textures we already went over. Effects though, low, and post-processing, low. You kind of just want everything off or low, and that also goes for your advanced graphics. Latency markers, they're broken, so turn them off. NVIDIA Reflex the latency though, have this on plus boost. And then, oh, I skipped it. Use GPU crash debugging. Look above my head, boys, right? Oh god, right there. Enabling this feature comes at a small performance cost. Oh hell no! Turn it off, we want FPS! And yeah, those are all of your DX11 settings that you need to change for performance mode. But even if you're on DX11 or DX12, these are what your settings should look like. And now we can finish off the video with your colorblind settings. at the moment, I'm actually on DX11 because I want to show you guys just something kind of cool. If you're on a near view distance, remember this is DX11, you get mobile builds, and they will jiggle like DX11. You also get the performance mode grass, and kind of everything else that looks like performance mode. But then, if you go and you change your view distance to above near, you will end up getting the normal DX11/DX12 with grass. I don't even like how that one looks, but just something to kind of know, because if you were confused why you're on DX11 or DX12 and your game looks like performance mode, it has to do with your view distance. I don't know. Regardless though, we're here for these settings. Oh, your graphics settings. Starting with brightness, I always use 100%, and I don't think this season needs to be any brighter. User interface contrast though, remember this only changes how your settings look. It doesn't affect in-game at all, so I use 1x. Let me skip colorblind mode for a second. Motion blur, turn this off. Motion blur is god-awful. And then colorblind mode, I use just the default of off, and obviously colorblind mode strength 0. I feel like my game looks pretty damn nice. The blues are nice, even the scopes, or I guess the scopes especially. My AR has been beaming people. Here's what the snow looks like, by the way. If you make your game brighter, it's going to be harder to see people in the snow, and the snow is like half the map now. Ugh. But if you guys want the Kanata trick, which I think is the second best colorblind mode, and which actually works quite well this season, it is to use Deuteranope strength 5 with 150% brightness. Apply it, and boom, you get all the darkness that Deuteranope gives you, such as the grass, different trees, and the water being more blue. But then because you crank up your brightness to 150%, it's not too bright. It looks pretty damn nice to me. The only thing I don't like as much are the reds, which is why I don't use this colorblind mode. So yeah, I use the default. The only other thing you can try is if you go outside of your game, and you go to your NVIDIA control panel on your desktop, you can actually adjust something called your digital vibrance by going to adjust desktop color settings on the left, down again to where it says digital vibrance, and then changing this to something between like 75 to 50. Anything above that looks way too crazy. You can actually see, look at my desktop, like over here. It becomes way more purple. 0% is gray. So go to like, maybe 69%. Apply that, and now in Fortnite, it's going to be a lot more vibrant. Oh, wow. The blues, the greens, everything. It just has so much more color to it. This might have a little too much color. So fool around with that. Fool around with whatever colorblind mode you want. As I said, these are all the settings I use. And obviously, I don't use DX11. Go to performance mode. And bang! Apply. I'm not going to restart now. Those are the best settings for the best FPS. We're at a stable 240. So make sure to like, subscribe, and try out my Forever Zone Wars map. I'm telling you, it is so much fun. And yeah, I love you all.